change as we grow. So the key is if the expectation does change, you need to communicate that so the person can understand.
Do you see this? If you can just do that QR code, and me and Brother Sohail are going to do an example dialogue of Can you hear me? Me and Brother Sohail are going to do an example dialogue of unhealthy communication. Then we're going to teach you some tips and tricks, and we're going to have you involved in that conversation. So are you ready? Okay. So this is an example dialogue of unhealthy communication. We're brother and sister, okay?
And brother and sister, the background is that I'm the brother. I came home after a long day, and my sister is visiting me, and she's going to start a conversation. We'll see how this goes, and then a little bit later we'll show you how a healthy communication would look like.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
I'm so excited. School is over. Finally, results are out. And as always, Aisha got all A's in her classes and also received the Student of the Year award. How did Hina do it?
Hina did okay. She passed all of her classes, but did not get A's or B's.
What? Haven't you been paying attention to Hina like I do to Aisha? You must be so disappointed. Maybe if you had paid attention, she could have done better. Isn't this the second year in a row that she got bad grades? Have you thought about how this is going to impact her future?
How dare you? How dare you come in my house and judge me about my actions? Look, we all try our best. And my kids aren't best academically, but they have other great qualities. And who are you to come in here and act all superior like somehow you're a better parent just because of a report card?
Whatever. You can act all upset or whatever, but the fact is that education is important. You're not paying attention. She needs good grades for a scholarship. We all know you can't afford to send her to college. So what if you want a better future for her, why didn't you just ask Aisha for help? Aisha could have helped her. It's only you to blame if she ends up a failure.
You know, why do you have to go to extremes and call my daughter and myself a failure? We all are trying to do our best. You know, my wife works all day and I work all day, and we're all trying to do the best we can. I don't need you here at the end of the day coming in here and judging me. Please leave.
Whatever. I'm your older sister. I just wanted what's best for you. Fine.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
So that was unhealthy conversation. And how many of us have had not the same situation, but similar situations where there's comparison with kids, comparison with husband-wife, and suddenly a small thing ends up into something really big. Communication is very important. So our learning objectives for today are very little, but I want you guys to go home understanding what we wanted to teach you. So active listening, mindful communication, intrapersonal communication, and how to practice positive communication. So, how many of you are ready to learn what communication is? How many of you are? Put your hand on your hip. How many of you put your hand on your hip or your cheek? See, when you put it, you watch my body language, right? Body language is so important to what you're saying. Now, what is assertive communication? How many of you are very passive in your communication? You let people, oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter, I'm fine. Good, raise your hand. Raise your hand, how many of you do that? A lot of us do that, right? So what happens when we don't give our opinion? When we don't give our opinion, people will start passing us over all the time. And one day, it's going to bother us. It's going to hurt us. But it will be too late to say anything because they're so used to that. So it's so important to be able to say what you want in a respectful tone. So I need 2 volunteers over here. 2 volunteers to show the difference between passive, okay, perfect, come on. And there's aggressive communication, which is really rude and obnoxious, and that's also not something we want to do. What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, can I have one more? Come. Come on. Guys, pick, I don't have time. Come on, come on, come on. Quick, one more. Come, one in a row. Come. Come, you come. Perfect. Okay, so we have these 2 amazing volunteers. Big round of applause for them to volunteer. Okay. So the situation A situation. So the situation is, a friend shows up late to a movie you really wanted to see, causing you both to miss it, okay? So first, I want the passive.
You are always late and never think
No,
about
that's aggressive. Sorry, you're aggressive. Say it, okay?
Yeah, you are always late and never think about anyone else but yourself.
How did that make you feel when she said that to you? Did it?
Sad because she's telling me I'm selfish.
Right? Because she's blaming, so automatically that ends the conversation, right? What happens when you're passive?
It's fine. I didn't want to see it that much anyways.
So when it's passive, he's like, oh, it's fine. So she never knows that it bothered, she never knows that it bothered him, that she wasn't there on time, right? So when somebody doesn't know and it keeps adding up, after a while you blow up on something that's really small, right? The assertive and proper way of saying is, I'm really disappointed we missed the movie because I really wanted to see it. Next time, I'd like us to pick a time that would work better for your schedule. What would that do? It tells the other person exactly what you want in a way that is respectful. So that next time, he won't make that same mistake, right? Good job. Big round of applause for you guys. Thank you. Now, another thing in assertive communication is using
Side and one from the sister side. So which one of you two can you guys decide?
Is there any husband wife in here?
If we have a couple, that would be ideal. Okay, I think we have a brother coming, so whoever is the wife, follow the brother.
I'm going bowling tomorrow. Bowling tomorrow. The guys at the office are starting a team.
You never make time for me. Why can't you ever do anything together?
It's never enough for you. We can do something together anytime. Tomorrow, today, they are organizing a team and I'm going.
Did everybody hear that?
Thank you. Just stay here for 1 second, please. There's a second part, so just stay here for 1 second. So you guys heard the conversation, right? It's also up on the screen. You notice how the brother just came and said, hey, I'm going for bowling tomorrow, and didn't even ask the wife how, what she has in mind, right? Because we can say, we'll do it another time, but that never comes, right? So this is like inconsiderate communication. So as I mentioned, we have to be aware of your own needs and emotions, right? Like, what is it that I'm about to say, and how is the wife or the other person, whether it be the boss or colleague, how are they going to take it, right? And then being respectful throughout the conversation, right? How is it going to make the other person feel? And again, as Sister Sadaf said, don't just dismiss them. Listen to them to understand what they're feeling or what they're saying, right? Make them feel included. And then again,
Now notice the difference in how he said it. Oh, sure.
Honey, the guys at the office are organizing a bowling team. I'd sure like to be on the team. Would it be a problem if I went to the organization meeting tomorrow?
That sounds great, but I was hoping we could do something together. I feel like we haven't had much time to spend together lately, and I miss you.
Wow, thank you. I would like to spend time with you as well. How about you meet me at Kasra and we can have dinner after the organizational meeting?
That sounds great. I'm craving their hummus.
thank you so much, guys. You're rocking up there. And keys are found for a Ford car. It's up here on the table. If it's your keys, please come grab it. So, did you guys notice the difference in this conversation? With what's on her mind, right? Hey, yes, that's fine, but I wish we could do this instead. And he's like, yeah, how about this? We make a commitment to meet after the event, and then we can go for food or whatever. So that's mindful communication and considered communication. we grow. So the key is if the expectation does change, you need to communicate that so the person can understand what you're expecting while you're needed for something else. So that wraps up the expectations. I'm happy to answer any questions, any clarifications that anyone may need before we move on to the next topic, and I hand it back to Sister Sadaf.
Intrapersonal.
All right, Jazakallah khair.
Thank you so much, Brother Sohail. How many of you know what intrapersonal communication is?